Is this the And we're live because I'm
we're live.
Because I'm a retard. I just started the stream and then stopped it. No one's found us yet.
Okay. So we're gonna retread any of the conversation that we were having before.
I don't know. Should we start with the riots? There's a couple of stories about the riots. Hold on, I'm just sharing them.
The riots, yeah.
I predict a riot. I predict a riot.
Somebody can talk if they want.
Hello.
No, I'm
Willie,
good.
mate. Willie.
We're going to talk about Angela Rayner.
Willie.
Angela Rayner taking
Yeah, okay.
the knee. You'd like it to take the knee, wouldn't
Oh,
Oh. Boy, hey, you brought her up.
you?
and she brought you up.
Hey.
Hey.
I think she should rise up.
Am I right, gamers?
Or go down on both knees.
Now that we're live, I'm embarrassed to say all of the chauvinistic stuff I was saying in the pre-show.
Go on, man. You'll get down on both knees and me, you fucking cunt.
So we reckon what, like, yeah, she was like, I don't think we could say it.
we think
We're
80%.
We seem to get in so much trouble, like, you know.
80%. As a palate
80%
cleanser,
for sure.
should we talk about Jonathan Ross's daughter?
What the fuck is that? Holy shit.
Fuck.
That's just like,
What? I don't see shit.
why is
In potential stories, Jonathan's honey, 23. Is that stoner age?
23?
Oh my god, she looks like the girl that's kept in Silence of the Lambs in the dungeon.
No, she's fatter than that, mate.
She's fatter than that, mate.
She's been fucking fattening her up.
We live. I don't see our.
They cut the
Yeah,
fucking beak
we
off.
are live. It's a new link.
They're just feeding her
'Cause I'm a
cholesterol,
retard.
like.
No, not there. In general, there you
Looks
go.
like
yeah.
the
Hey.
fucking Dairy Queen, mate.
Yeah, because
I
I'm
mean,
a retard.
how do you? She's really like, you know.
I mean, Jane. I mean, you've seen Jonathan Ross's missus, haven't you? Jane Goldman.
No, is she? Oh, Goldman.
Jane,
Goldman.
yes. She produces a lot of superhero films, you know, like X-Men First Class and I'm trying to think what else.
Really?
Yeah. X-Men First Class. What's it called? The Kick-Ass, another one. Kingsman, stuff like that.
Yeah, Honey Ross is the fittest girl in the South, to be honest.
Well, that's the mother. There's some serious fucking Kazar milkers on her. That's the image search. For
Let's see. Where have you put it?
Just put it in general. Just the image search.
All right. Okay, let's take a look at this.
That's the mother.
All right. I mean, she doesn't strike me as particularly obese, so what the fuck happened?
Yeah, and Jonathan Ross is as skinny as a fucking rake as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's literally like a fucking what's the phrase they use on off not fucking slash fit. A lanklet, a skinny fat lanklet.
I'm trying to
These
think.
fucking goofy terms.
About halfway down, she's in like a trad dress. She looks fairly big in that.
Yeah.
I think she has struggled with her weight by the looks of it.
You think? Like,
Yeah.
barely looks mobile.
No, not the daughter, the mother.
Oh. Yeah, but like honestly, you'd look at that. It's
I
like,
think that's why
come
the
on,
knockers,
you
I
guys.
think that's why the knockers are always on show. Because it keeps your eyes off of the waistline.
But you'd look at that and you would just be like, right, we can afford like a good diet, They can afford to go on holiday and do all this like upper middle like class stuff. They can afford to do things, so there's
gym.
not really any.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'd look at if my daughter hit her teens, I'd be like, all right, well, do you want to come for a jog with me, love? Like, we'll go canoeing, we'll
Looking a bit porky
Yeah.
there, gal. Do you want to, maybe have a bit smaller
yeah.
dinner?
Do you want to like? Yeah, you're joining the sports club, and
Oh, actually, I haven't showed the picture of the lovely honey. That T-shirt says "Labia Party."
Christ. So this is like someone who should have a great sense of humor. Who's married to, he's married to a rich Jewish producer, and it's like, really, like that, like you'd think they were raised on a good diet, or like she would be, it's not like she had to stay inside for most of her child. Yeah, so what happened? Crikey, that face.
Crikey.
Crikey, Mike.
Crikey, Mike.
Crikey, mate! She got all the bad genes, didn't she?
Yeah,
Look at those
but
fucking
weirdly,
cankles. You seen the cankles on it?
ugh.
I mean, look
Like,
at that.
why are
They've
you
gone to
smiling?
They've gone to some sort of
Cankles
fucking
around, but not
premiere of a fucking thing. She's wearing a fucking joke T-shirt, what looks like her bed sheets, and fucking trainers.
Yeah. It's like Jonathan Ross. Like, well, actually, you look at his expression. He looks quite embarrassed to be there with her, doesn't he? I was gonna sort of make a joke about what the fuck are you smiling about? Your daughter is 23 and looks 52.
That's bordering on grimace, isn't it?
Maybe she's
It is grimace. I mean, you'd think he's a comedian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you'd think like
wash your blood
through-
type gravy. When she's having something to eat. You know what I mean?
But you ever watch like stand-up bits where like you laugh a lot, so like it gives you like stomach crunches?
Well, you
think that would have happened at least once a week throughout her life?
Or they sat round the table and old Jonathan goes, "Hey, honey jumped in the air the other day and got stuck," or something like that. Just like a gentle hint or something.
Yeah. But you think at least once a week you'd have a decent
Fucking
like
hell, she has
belly laugh.
She has 25,600 followers.
Look at the state of this fucking thing.
How?
Like,
What? Where'd everyone go? Bingo.
Look at that. There she is, looking serious on Lorraine.
oh my god. Okay.
As my dear old dad used to say, she looks like a bag of shit tied up in the middle, don't she?
Well, did you see? Speaking of, well, I actually posted something in Doodling Pad, which is a
I
video.
think Sarah's got the best take in it. I bet she wishes she was a foot taller. Yeah, she's not fat. She's just under tall.
That's it.
She's wider than she is long.
When you said, she just did like a sit up or a crunch or something, I don't think she actually can.
Jonathan Ross
room.
tweeted, "I just ate too many brownies again." Oh, and also J.K. Rowling is both right and magnificent. For those accusing her of transphobia, please read what she wrote. She clearly is not.
Oh, he's falling out with his daughter.
Yeah. She
So, how
devalues
much
trans
of-
lives on a regular basis by saying they erase lesbians. Please go and talk to @mermaid's gender or any trans charity, and they'll give you an entire essay on her.
I mean, we're told that if you want to set someone straight, generally humor and laughter is like a good way to do it.
Yeah.
So you would think that you know, his daughter would not be this seething, obese shitlib.
Well, what's wrong with 2020? I'm feeling sorry for J.K. Rowling, the fucking shitlib. Now is that what 2020 is doing to me? What the fuck?
Oh mate, J.K. though, you still would, right?
You're still
I
rolling.
wouldn't in the first
She's
place.
pretty. She's all right looking. I don't know.
Scottish.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 in North.
That's all her own teeth. 10 out of 10.
Okay, so I'll post it in potential stories. Actually, there was an interesting Twitter thread that I found saying blacks are attacking whites now just for wearing black clothing, and there's a broad who's telling the story.
To be fair, J.K. Rowling tweet: people who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumbin, wimpund, woomud. Opinion:
like
creating
JK...
a more equal post-COVID-19 word for people who menstruate.
Yeah, you know they talk about how politicians are generally completely out of touch with their voter base. I feel like authors maybe also have the same problem where they're completely out of touch with like their reader base, and most kind of fans are. So like she didn't realize that like about 10 years ago, or just a little under, maybe about 15 years ago, the Harry Potter fan base keeping it alive was just absolutely degenerate, like proto shitlibs, like writing fan fiction and really weird stuff about it, and you know, I don't know. It's just yeah, boy.
You did blood. Oh. I know that's off topic, but just all the fucking knockers that have joined in the Black Lives Matter protest.
Oh, there's joggers showing up. Which one? Where? They're everywhere.
Stormzy, Anthony Joshua, fucking
John
Raheem
Boyega.
Sterling.
Did you see John Boyega? He's got a few film roles out of it as well, which is absolutely not the reason he did it.
Oh, he was
absolutely
crying. I
not.
might not have a job after this anymore.
Yeah, it's like the entire establishment supports you.
Yeah.
What a dickhead.
It's like you are a multi-millionaire fucking diversity hire, and you want to then tell me about my white privilege. Kill yourself, jogger.
Jog on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, boys, it's not a riot, it's a peaceful marathon.
Oh,
Peaceful
dear.
marathon.
Did you see
27
this
officers
tweet from?
injured.
Did you see this tweet from?
Yeah, the news media are so evil. It's worth pointing out. They're at the point now where they show you pictures and footage and actively tell you the complete opposite of what is happening before your eyes.
Yeah, it's like it's like
That's where we're at now.
It's like what's it called? What's it? Sci-Fi Cinema 3000. What's that fucking program called where they narrate the old films? It's literally
Mystery
like that.
Science Theater 3000.
That's it. Yeah, it's like that, but news version, isn't it? You know, where they put a film on and do their own narration for it.
I never actually watched that. I only knew of it because I used to like spoon.
I've never seen a single episode, but I know the meme of it.
Yeah.
Well, we might as well get the joggers jogging out of the way, hadn't we?
I mean, have we not talked about this on the last episode? Or is it only just happening this week?
No, because
Been
last
jogging that
Tuesday,
long.
innit? It kind of kicked off.
I get confused.
after.
We do so many streams, I get confused what we've actually said.
We did it on Based's channel last night, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, but
Links in the description.
all right. Well, yeah. Basically, so the entire West is on fire. Directed by Antifa, throwing people up towards joggers, who, while the entire establishment backs them and supports them, and all these gay celebrities,
The racist establishment. Don't forget, it's the racist.
yeah, the racist establishment and police and state, who, while they're literally defacing monuments, they don't intervene, let them do it, literally do nothing to quell the riots. So it's more like they say abolish the police. My take on that is, would you even notice in the UK?
The absolute bullshit they took, the racist system that's stacked against them. All of these MPs, music stars, TV stars, film stars
Literally
are all
the
telling
entirety.
you how the deck's stacked against them.
literally the entire media class. And
Dame
what you-
Doreen Lawrence is going to tell you how the system's stacked against her, aren't they?
by every metric that you could measure or define the establishment by, completely support them, to the point where the police that you're supposedly writing against don't even intervene while you're defacing centuries-old statues, pulling them down.
If anyone's in your way while you want to deface a Churchill statue, they'll even move them out the way for you.
They'll move the people not wanting you to deface the Churchill statue out of the way and arrest them instead of you, the one actually. Do you remember all those years back where they're like, "Oh no, that's an offense"? All these soy boy coppers who were like, and these dickheads going, that's disturbing the peace and shit that. It's like, yeah, well, can we just say as well, the exact same people who now support BLM
Why don't these coppers just pretend? Why don't all these coppers just pretend that the joggers are old ladies or something like that? If they could just pretend they're old ladies, then they could move them out of the way with ease, couldn't they?
Yeah, or they could, they could, if they just pretended they were all like white, young white kids. Girls who were like victims of like interracial rape, then basically on the organized level, if they pretended they were all the victims, they'd actually start like arresting them and like fucking trying to shut them up and quell them. That's where we're at in the UK. And you think I'm exaggerating? I am not. And also the exact same, it's the exact same people who were saying, demanding that when, white families who probably haven't seen anyone have kept to themselves for weeks, who have gone to the beach, right? And they're saying they should be shot by snipers, right? But the exact same people, the exact same people making songs and all these people going, NHS, and the sacred holy thing,
I mean, it's literally the societal version of that. That Dinduisha, the one, white folks are evil, here's my PayPal. Do you remember the meme?
Yeah.
It's literally the exact same version of that.
The exact same people, pandemic, panicking and saying and policing Twitter when someone, demanding that dog walkers who were alone in the middle of the countryside fucking go outside to walk the dog. Those same people and the same police turning families away if they just wanted to go to beaches and stuff are now in active support of these riots. They are in active fucking, openly making excuses for them. And the problem is their position isn't even based on the truth. George Floyd was a piece of fucking shit. He was a career criminal, a drug dealer who died of a drug overdose, which the autopsy report, which, I'll actually pull it up.
My favourite, what you doing that? My favourite tweet of the week was 27 police injured in largely peaceful riots. This is the insanity they're expecting you to fucking swallow. Yeah,
to buy, yeah. It's like George Floyd, apparently they did I don't believe that this first autopsy report was doctored, because why would the first one be, right? So there were, by the way, boys, how do you choke someone by applying pressure to the back of the neck in a standard police hold? Because you're not cutting off the trachea. You can't do it. Right? You can do it if you cut off the trachea and you put pressure on the back of the neck, right? But you can't just by putting pressure on the back of the neck. Also,
I've just been sent a meme by England. It says you have to feel bad for the British police. Normally at this time of year they'd be twerking with drag queens at Pride.
Oh yeah, exactly. You do have to feel bad for them. I mean.
Yeah,
but their job isn't to prevent crime
for once in their fucking lazy ass lives, aren't they?
And they're not even doing the job. So really, what do we pay taxes to the police force for?
Did you see it in the videos where the basically the rioters have got them on the run? There's at least 2-3 videos I've seen.
All they do is arrest victims. So here's the toxicology report from George Floyd's body, right? So blood and drug novel psychoactive substances screens, fentanyl, 11 ng ml, norfentanyl, 4 ANMPP, methamphetamine, 19 ng ml, 11 hydroxy delta 9 THC, with delta 9 carboxy THC, right, and delta 9 THC, continine positive and caffeine positive. So basically, he was on meth or coke, one of them. He dealt that. And you know what? He spent 5 years in fucking jail for doing a home invasion with his fucking bros and pointing a pistol to a pregnant woman's stomach, right? While he robbed her. Okay?
He was the
didn't do
gentle
enough.
giant.
Shit.
So this is so all these liberals saying that like race isn't real except if you want to attack white people when it suddenly is. All these people saying that they can all have civic identities, or all these civic nationalists, all these civic liberals that want to tell us indigenous Brits that we don't exist, right? And that we can all come together. Well, clearly you don't actually believe that because these people, their in-group preference for their own race is so strong that this complete piece of fucking shit, they aren't even willing to protest over like the truth of what actually happened, right? So
like
that completely overrides their civic identity, right? And also, they are so, like, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say he sounds like there's nothing like rare about this. This is like your average Houston like nog.
Yeah.
Like that's where he's like they're all like this.
These like so this civic identity stuff is bullshit because they are defacing, right, monuments en masse that are apparently testaments to the struggle that they all came from, our collective identity, right? War, sacrifice,
Well,
right?
this
You
is
don't
where,
deface shit like
you
that.
find out. This is where you find out that they don't think they're part of here. That they don't give a shit about here.
Exactly.
So this is where the narrative completely falls apart.
And you know, with they're going, oh, if there is a second spike, then it's beachgoers that are to blame for, not the people mass fucking rioting and tearing down statues.
I just want to add something to that. Do you remember in the World Cup when France won it and all the blacks were saying, no, Africa won it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the papers were saying that as well, weren't they?
Remember when we had an
well,
homogenous team? We used to win it all the time.
Pitt had a good tweet earlier. He says, "If T isn't from here, they're not from here either, because T's British. So if T can go, they can go."
Yeah. Well, do you know what else was? Where was it? Did you see that video of them protecting the monument in? Where was it? It wasn't Huddersfield. It was something field. It began with an H.
Don't know. I didn't see.
Oh, I've seen the same one. What, the big group of lads?
Yeah, big group of lads.
Was that the same one where one of them told them to fuck off back to
Absolute South FC, yeah. So all these BLMers
Fuck
show
off
up.
back to
They
Islam,
surround
did he?
their these indigenous Brit guys, these proper fucking gun big gun energy guys surround like this monument, protecting their monument, right, from BLM. And then basically they're all trying to do the chant, and this guy just with his face mask covered, he just points, he walks up and he goes, "Fuck off back to Africa then." Right?
Power.
And then
There's a newscaster
this woman
said something similar. I've just posted a video in Doodling Pad. I've just seen it on Twitter. I don't know what program it's from, but it's just a guy asking some black activists like, "Well, if you don't like all of it, then why are you here?"
Yeah, and then they go,
I'll just play the
That's
audio. It
racist.
saves us getting any content bans.
Racist.
If you take such offence when you see Nelson's column, if you take such offence when you hear Winston
Hold on.
Churchill's name, who I would argue, if in the
I'll start it again because that was a bit
why
quiet.
do you stay in this country? If you take such offence when you see
Oh, that's the
Nelson's
Afua
column,
Hirsch
if you
bitch,
take
isn't it?
such offence when you hear Winston Churchill's name, who I would argue, if in the unlikely event that anybody want to have a poll, I would say probably 80 to 90% of people would say that Winston Churchill did a good thing. I'm delighted that I see you at these Thursdays. I'm delighted you upstairs. But if it offends you so much, how do you manage to stay here?
What Nick needs to say is, why don't you fuck off back to Islam?
yeah. Who was it saying that?
Nick Ferrari talking to Afua Hirsch.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And what I bet her response was some gay op.
Yeah. Well, she was. It wasn't Afua Hirsch. No, it was someone else, wasn't it, that said women should keep the rape victims should keep their mouths shut for the sake of
That's
diversity.
not sure.
For the sake of
That was
diversity,
Ned
yeah.
Shah. I'll get confused.
Have you seen
with them.
Blair Cottrell live on Australian TV, there's a clip people have been reposting where he's like, so when does diversity end then? And he's like, they're like this Jewish Australian goes, multiculturalism is an experiment. It never ends. Or something. He's like, so do you mean when all white people aren't here anymore? It's like, you think history like ended or something, and yeah, it's pretty based.
Yeah.
But again, that man just shows up and wins by default on optics.
You've got a bit of a man crush. You've got a bit of a man crush on Blair Cottrell, haven't you, mate?
I do, yeah. I like a big steroided boy.
Shame.
He is so on gear. He is so on gear.
Does he ignite your androphile tendencies, girl?
He goes, Geralt, you're fucking. Like, listen, mate. Like, we're all gonna make it, but you're
Geralt.
a fag.
Geralt, do you want to be a real man, Geralt?
Geralt will fucking root you.
I look at him and go, my ancestor.
Dear.
What was that? Yeah, okay. I think
Well,
what I
we're on
was
all
saying
this
before.
bullshit. Have you seen what's his name, Lewis Hamilton, the twat, fucking whinging again? It was veganism last time. He's fucking whinging about maybe we shouldn't maybe we should remove racist symbols around the world. Says the man who works for Boss and Mercedes.
Yeah. Well, other people were saying that about Anthony Joshua. They were saying, like, dude, you take so much money from Saudi Arabia, it's not even funny. So, you know. And then also someone else was saying, I actually saw like I think it was a black guy who was saying, listen, you fucking joggers, giving me a bad name. He was saying, look, like, slavery still goes on in Libya, so you never collectivized to protest that. So this is all a gay op.
It's also as well, if you've seen all the Laura Towler tea thing and all these like tea companies coming in, it's like, do you not understand your own history of the tea trade?
Oh no!
Let's remind PG Tips of the video of the adverts they used to have in the 80s.
Well, you know what we were saying. Do you remember the monkey videos?
In response to that one, I said, PG Tips, you're gonna bring the chimps back in honor of BLM.
PG Tips. Do you not remember with what was it? Johnny Vegas, who was like with the monkey.
No, well, I'm talking about in the 80s. Do you remember the old PG Tips commercials?
Well, I wasn't alive.
Not where they put the peanut butter on the roofs of the mountains. They look like they were talking.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they used to like get chimps to like reenact like scenes of like normal people, and they used to put peanut butter on the top of the mouths because they'd like try and lick it, and they looked like they were talking.
Right. Hemi, I was not of this mortal coil during the 1980s. You fucking boomer.
There's a full 18-minute collection of
90s,
all of the PG Tips ads.
Yeah, I've seen the ones from the early 90s. I remember that the little kid was playing on a Super Nintendo, I think it was. So that sort of dates the last of the adverts.
This ain't Blinking Calais, this is Blinking Catford.
In the 1950s in Belgium, they had zoos, but they thought it was like cruel to have animals in there. So you could go to the zoo to see
while you're on talking about fucking Belgium, I've got a bone to pick with you, young fella, me lad. Have you seen what your people are doing? Have you seen what your people are doing with the King Leopold II statues?
That's the Flemish for you, the scum. They're not my people, mate.
Well, they're coming from roads.
Just got to
now,
share a
aren't
country with them. Belgium is two nations in one geographical border. It's two separate countries.
It's not even a real country, isn't it? As Nigel Farage would say.
I know it's not. It's.
Have you seen there's already an article about Teagate on Yorkshire on the Mail?
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, I was a bit worried because there was this guy apparently who, for some reason, because you were saying before that like you know the mainstream had given PA no attention. And now when she goes after well, she didn't go after.
She didn't even
just
go after.
tweeted
She
at-
didn't. Apparently, she didn't even
No.
mention it. It was like
No.
because
She didn't actually
they
tag
check.
them. No.
Yeah, she didn't tag them. So they obviously check mentions, don't they?
Yeah. So but also there was then this absolute gimp who was like, I used to work with this girl. Do you know she's now right? And then was like saying, oh, here's her real name, and I yes, she worked at an IT company with me in Pilkington or something, and then was like,
What are they talking about? She's not racist. Have you ever heard them say a racist word? They're not racist or Nazis. No, there's no way they're Nazis.
No, but she was actually. What this guy was saying was then like, and then going on another thread, and it's like trying to make her out to be this like really horrible, like mean person. It's like you could just tell Mummy Towler is like a lovely girl to be around. She's probably never offended anyone really.
She's never said the N-word.
No.
Not even
not live. Not live.
I've
who hasn't? I honestly believe 99% of humans alive today has said the N-word at some point.
even
and if you don't think that's true, you're lying. Even if you said it in quotes. Or just among friends, or like if you go, Mom, what's the N-word mean? So that's.
So are you ready for a Karen writes, a far right activist with a love of Yorkshire tea has been asked by the historic British brand not to buy its products in future after she posted an anti-Black Lives Matter tweet. Laura Towler, a Yorkshire-based YouTuber who posts extreme views on social media.
At least they admit she's based.
Hey. Including last year, sharing an image of the former British Union and fascist leader Oswald Mosley drinking Yorkshire tea. Tweeted the company on Saturday. She wrote that she was chuffed Yorkshire Tea hadn't posted in support of the Black Lives Matter protests happening globally in the wake of George Floyd's death in Minneapolis on May the 25th. I thought it was murder anyway. Posting a smiling face emoji, she wrote, I'm dead chuffed that Yorkshire Tea has not supported BLM. Hold on. Yesterday, Yorkshire Tea, which is owned by the Harrogate-based Betty's and Taylor's group, hit back at the tweet telling Towler, please don't buy our tea again. We're taking some time to educate ourselves and plan proper action before we post. We stand against racism. Did you want to say something?
2015 time loop. Can I just say that, like, BLM got BTFO'd like 5 years ago, and now they're trying again but worse.
Yeah.
Like, but normies aren't aware of this, so we know that it's all
Obama
bullshit.
Shut BLM down. Even the ADL shut BLM down because they're fucking unruly.
Yeah, and they got like Trump has declared them a domestic terrorist group, which people were demanding he did for ages.
Well, he's monitoring the situation, but BLM shot police officers in fucking Dallas. Why is this not? I mean, Tommy Robinson is former EDL leader. Tommy Robinson, him off LBC is former terrorist Majid Nawaz, isn't he? It's like, why isn't BLM former cop killers BLM?
Exactly, but it's they reframe stuff as peaceful, as protest, as fucking like there was literally that clip of that guy. Like things were burning. Oh, I heard a hot take though. By the way, so they were saying this is all a cover because Hillary Clinton, who's no one's cared about for 4 or 5 years now, is like on trial. Okay. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton's on trial right now, and apparently this is a ploy by George Soros to cover that up. It's like, but yeah, that's happening. But I mean, no one has cared about Hillary for like 4 or 5 years.
You mean
because she lost? What was it? They tapped the phones, let the dead vote, and something else and they still lost. They gave Hillary the debate questions and still lost.
Fucking imagine losing to Trump.
What the fuck?
Well-
There's a police. I mean, like you said, do you remember you said earlier, like the fact that these people completely make stories up. This one is the police. Oh, where is it? The headline was "Police guard Winston Churchill statue." What the fuck? They literally moved
That's
people
not what
up so they could
happened.
be
We've all
attacked.
seen the videos. We've all seen the videos.
Evening, lads.
Evening. Do you want to chuck your 2 penneth in, Mosley?
Yeah, I saw Boris is completely cucked out. I don't know if you've covered that yet.
No, I haven't. I haven't even seen that stuff. So what's he been saying?
Yeah, basically he's going to allow the police to use their discretion to whether people are allowed to pull down statues or not.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
They're all cooks. They're all dickheads. They're all cultureless dickheads.
I live
or like seething soy
I live
boys.
my political life as a dickhead.
Yeah. You should play. You should play a bit of that song right now.
I'll do it in a bit.
I mean,
Every
it
time you
is from
suggest a song,
2010,
I'll
but
get
it's so accurate.
Someone needs
You should get the drop. You should get the drop of the chorus. Yeah.
Yeah. What? It's like 2020. What the fuck is 2020? Is it even a year? Is it what?
Dude, this year I was supposed to move house. I was supposed to do loads of things, and like half the year has been robbed from me. And like the COVID lockdown stuff was absolute fucking bullshit, enforced like in a really like obtuse way. And then a couple of months later, for a completely nonsensical, non-truthful cause, there's been riots that the police haven't even quelled. And meanwhile, we're all still on house arrest as law-abiding citizens. It's fucking bollocks. I couldn't believe it was already June. We're halfway through June.
Ooh.
It says
Nearly
here,
Christmas.
it's in the Oxford Mail, apparently, the story comes from. It says, police must make their own decisions whether to intervene if anti-racism protesters try to pull down statues as part of the Black Lives Matter demonstration.
At their discretion, right? But why are the police so gay in this country? Like, I was having this conversation with Ian A before, actually, and I was just like, have you ever met a copper that you've liked?
No.
Anyone?
I think it's mainly it's the people they hire these days. I don't know if you've seen absolutely every single one of these male police officers look exactly the same. They've all got very groomed beards and dark hair. But also then, this is what happens when you've had years and years of, diversity hires within the police. I mean, look at the police officer who's in charge of the Met. It's like basically like, oh, we got you because you're a woman.
Do you remember that other lesbian where they all laughed at her hair? Do you remember her gag?
Sorry, the Hedgehog.
Can I just say as well, like the statue they pulled down, Edward Colston, right, was not just a slave owner. That was not the sum total. That was not the sum total of his personality or his achievements or what he did for Bristol. That is not the sum total of his existence. And it is so disingenuous to label him as such. You know?
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
His like his part of was a massive part in building Bristol, wasn't it? The finances come from, and I saw someone say, "Well, why don't you leave Bristol then?" Because
not only that,
basically you're living off the back of slavery.
People like that used to pay for healthcare and education as well, didn't they? Before the fucking state got in and started brainwashing people.
Yeah, you used to help people out. Yeah.
We're also the country who like later ended but also the whole slavery narrative is so gay up because they never protest the North African Barbary slave trade. They never actually protest Muhammad, who was a documented slave owner, right?
Yeah.
So they're not burning down mosques and shit.
The emancipation of the slaves mean we had to pay off the slave owners, not saying who they were, but they know who they are. And we finally paid off the interest on that loan in 2014. So you're welcome, blacks.
How about this article I've just found? This is from 2017. The memory of Cornish coast dwellers kidnapped for slavery culturally erased. The memory of thousands of Cornish people who were kidnapped and sold into slavery has been culturally erased, campaigners have said. Academics are trying to revive knowledge. What do you mean revive knowledge? About pirates from the Barbary Coast in North Africa who terrorised West Country maritime communities during the 17th and 18th centuries. Also known as the Barbary Corsairs, the seafarers targeted settlements across the Western Mediterranean and Atlantic European coast until they were finally suppressed for good in 1830. Historians say Cornish records reveal family members pleading for ransom money to buy their loved ones back. Professor Joe Ezra from the University of Exeter said the piracy was an incredibly significant aspect of the history of the Southwest. There's an element that's been culturally erased in some way, she told the BBC, like we've ever seen the documentary the BBC did about it.
If you want a good bit of history about the Barbary slavers, look up, I think it's called HMS Kingfisher. It was a warship disguised as a merchant ship. So the Corsairs would go up to it, and then suddenly all the hidden cannon would come out, and then they'd get blown out the water.
Well, I won't read the rest of it, but the last line is, the piracy was fully stamped out in 1830 with the French occupation of much of the North African coastline. So why were we in South Africa? Why were we in North Africa? We're in North Africa to stop them from fucking stealing our own people. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You know,
but like you say, it's still going on. Isn't it?
And for no reason whatsoever, the British are right. The Europeans arrived in Africa, didn't they?
Have you seen joggers videos in Ireland of like it looks like these really poor estates, the general way from what I deduce of these people being the way they dress and stuff. It's quite like chavvy. It's a little underclass and stuff. But you know, I saw a video of like joggers stabbing like this like Irish kid that they've actively like beaten the shit out of. He's on the floor, he's knocked out, he's dazed, like you can't even, you know, he's down. And then they literally pull up his coat and stab him. He's not even saying anything. And I saw that video and I'm like, what? And apparently the Irish government has removed the video, made it illegal to share it, and ruined the GoFundMe for the victims. Like, they've taken that down. It's like, what? I'm angry that, like, first of all, if you're on an estate like that, why are you walking around alone, kid? But also, why do they never fight back? I saw a different one of them, like, kicking this Irish kid.
You get
it's
a
like,
bigger fucking kicking if you fight back, don't you?
No. Well, can you hold your own? That's the thing. Yeah. That's why we all need to do contact sports, right? You need to be able to throw down. You need to be able to defend yourself.
If you're
go ahead and fight a bunch of blacks, Geralt, and then we'll see what the courts say about it.
Implying.
Yeah. The thing is, if you fight like 3 or 4 people, you know it's not like having a one-on-one fight with somebody.
No, it's not.
Someone will jump you from behind.
From what Anglus is saying, it's the other way around. That neighbourhood was a middle-class one, so they were marauding in an area that wasn't theirs.
He was probably going to see his nan or something on the way back or something like that. Yeah, lovely.
Right.
But they hate us, don't they? You know. I think it's clear to obviously all of us, but it's when you see this, like, you know, you try and talk to people who are supposed to be like moderate people, and they just won't have it. They won't see it because, well, to start off with, they don't see the news stories.
No,
because they get hidden. That's the first thing.
And then if you get banned from Facebook if you put them on your Facebook.
Yeah, that's it. So you can't seem to get the news out there because that's how they silence.
Yeah, and then when you tell them about what's happening, it's almost like they don't believe you.
No, they don't believe you. No.
Yeah.
Oh, we've had another one, a gentleman called Robert Milligan statue. He was a merchant, apparently a slave trader, who also created the West India Docks in London, has been removed as a statue from there.
Right, okay. These people are fucking illiterate because
like,
every civilization...
Why the fuck are we lag America? It's like, this is like 2015 America. This is the fucking Charlottesville shite all over again, isn't it?
Like, every civilization throughout recorded history practiced some degree of slavery. You know?
Of course they did. Yeah.
And most of them far recently than we have.
Yeah, Libya. You know, Libya still practices it. They still sell blacks. Right?
There still is in a lot of Arabia.
The West, we ended it because we saw that it was wrong. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like this absurd thing of projecting back. Like, even soy bug men, when they talk about, like, I saw this YouTuber who talks about Game of Thrones and had a degree in like medieval history, and he goes, "You cannot look back on medieval society and sort of like use today's liberal standards on it because that was just not the time they lived in, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like suburbia and like rich. That is kind of an anomaly. Like for the majority of history, we have been in a traditional like war zone.
I've just seen the grimmest headline ever. Katie Price, 42, reveals she plans to expand her family using a sperm donor, as doctors say she will need to get pregnant in the next couple of years.
No one will do it, like, physically.
She can't even find some no hope of Z-list fucking celebrity now, can she, to do the job for her?
Go on, Chad Gold. Get in there, mate.
Go on,
Chad Gold, get in there. Go on, Chad, son.
Go on, Chad,
give her the
son.
spunk cup.
You see, Grub was just saying about like using like medieval, and you can't use modern day kind of like interpretations on it. That's right, because medieval humor was completely different to what violence was seen in certain situations as a funny thing to do, like really serious violence, and people found that funny. Whereas you wouldn't walk someone in a pub now and smash them over the head, and everyone sit in the pub and start laughing.
I don't know. I think
I'm getting really tired of this thing. It's like, well, in medieval England, in the minutiae of the law, they never mentioned black people, did they?
Yeah,
it's like you fucking didn't need
obviously.
Yeah,
obviously. But my main thing is that traditionalism was the mainstay of what worked for like civilizations, particularly ours, that we literally owned a third of the world in the space age, and now basically you're projecting back all this like gay-op, progressivist, like nonsense back onto like a time, place where... do you know what pisses me off the most about progressives? If they were to have existed about 100 years ago, they would be the Bible-thumping, most traditional, most rigid, like fucking... Purity spiraling people. Because it is not about the actual issues. It's about signaling about the issues. They are the same fucking people who would be doing that. They were the people who would be accusing people of being witches. They are the people who would be, absolute, like, Puritans about... that kind of shit,
Yeah, they cause the most trouble.
Yeah. They would have been these like staunch pearl clutching conservative fucking gimps, right? With no sense of humor. They are those people, right?
I've got a think piece from the Mail here. Stephen Glover, the BBC's comic bias is proof that it has given up on impartiality. Not that you needed proof, because they gave it up. I don't know whether it. I think
Real
Brexit
quick, Hemi.
was when we first fucking noticed it, wasn't it?
Hemi, can I just say, the other day I watched Monty Python, the TV show, some episodes, and I watched The Meaning of Life, and it was a great time. It was so good. They don't make them like that anymore.
Chad Gold should watch The Meaning of Life. Every sperm is sacred.
That opening, just the Yorkshireman with these. How many kids does he have? 700.
Good lad.
He's like, well, no, I've had a good hard think about it, and I'm afraid you're all gonna have to go off for chemical experiments. Like, I've had a good hard think about it, and like. Human trials it is.
My favourite bit is when Death goes to collect those people from that dinner party. You bloody Yanks. It's all, listen here, buddy.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah. And then he goes, you fucking Brits. You've got no balls. Yeah. No, that's I don't think that's the best one though. Meaning of Life is like a good kind of compilation of skits. I think that some were more hidden. I think The Life of Brian and The Holy Grail
are genius.
Yeah. I do feel like they are better.
You manky Scots git. I sold my armour for that.
I like the bit where they go. Yeah, I know. I like the bit. Yeah, that's brilliant. That is. And then it kills one of them, and then he starts going, I told you so.
Well, it's like the also Harry Enfield, back in the day when he was
Enfield. Oh, you mean Wayne?
Yeah, the Yorkshireman skit when he's like, That's
Oh, yeah,
amazing.
lads,
It's
you'll
hilarious.
never play for Yorkshire.
Well, my liberal leaning ex, I remember showing her like some Monty Python that I'm not sure she'd ever seen before, and it's the bit where in Life of Brian, where Mikey Knox talked about this, by the way, but when he goes, he's talking about trannies, where there's that guy going, what? He's like, why do you want to be a woman then? He goes,
Where's the fetus going to gestate? In a box?
Yeah. He's like, oh, it's not the bloody Romans' fault. It's just bloody biology.
Yeah, that's the bit in the amphitheater, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was strange because she didn't seem to find it funny, because I imagine because she was a little bit younger than me, like, you know, like to her, like maybe trannies aren't a joke. Like common sense doesn't enter it. You know, it was very strange.
There's so many memorable lines in those films. You know, like I say, some of it's very kind of like bordering on very un-PC in today's standard. You'd never get like it made. It's just a piss.
Same with Little Britain, man.
Last
year. Isn't it? Last year, I was getting drunk with a girl. We were watching Little Britain. Both found it pretty funny.
Have you seen?
You know,
have you seen
well,
Little
they've just
Britain?
banned it.
Little Britain's been pulled from Netflix, BritBox,
and Come Fly With Me.
Yeah.
Little Britain is removed from
themselves,
BBC. Removed from BBC iPlayer, BritBox, and Netflix, which has also canned "Come Fly With Me" amid
let's
concerns
be
the
honest.
use of blackface characters on the series is no longer acceptable.
The guys who made that are pretty liberal. Like one of them's gay. I think both of them are gay. Like,
Aren't they both Jewish?
yeah, and it's like,
isn't it? They haven't
you know,
got a sense of
everyone
humour
found it funny, but it genuinely did parody quite a few of the sort of absurd stereotypes of people that were walking around and like, you know, were like,
it suggests an uncertain future for other shows such as League of Gentlemen, and the only person that does that is the bloke that runs the fucking carnival. That's the only blackface there is, isn't it, in League of Gentlemen?
It's retroactive censoring.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's seeing how far. I mean, how far are they going to go back now?
Yeah.
Are they going to pick on only fools and horses?
You know, Shakespeare said something like, as ugly as an Ethiop. You know, you're going to ban Shakespeare now? Well, they're trying.
Well, they're trying, mate. Yeah,
they're trying.
Yeah, they can't. They know they can't ban Shakespeare because it's too ingrained. So they just try and basically diversify it. Let's have a female King Henry V.
Well, they'll just sideline it in favour of Stormzy, won't they?
Let me give actually like kind of a thought experiment for you guys. I don't think this has actually been done. But what if I'm trying to think of something like, okay, it might have been done, but like who's like a kind of funny black guy, like Kevin Hart or someone, or who's the other guy who like?
Oh god, what you mean? Do you mean like classically funny, like Richard Pryor or someone like that?
Yeah, Richard Pryor. So let's say,
Chris Rock.
That like
Chris Rock. I think Chris Rock will probably fit into the thought experiment you're doing.
Who's the other guy who like he recently came out of like apparently he was banned for a while. He came back and he did an edgy show.
Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle banned himself, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
All right, Dave Chappelle. So let's say that, you know, he's on a skit show and he paints his face white and he puts on a Groucho Marx.
There's a film. There's a precedent for this. White chicks.
But no, like, follow me here. He wears a black robe and puts on a Groucho Marx eyeglasses and nose.
Oh, you mean he does Jew face?
Yeah. I mean, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, would that be acceptable? Because they genuinely hold the power.
Have you ever seen Coming to America, Garol?
Eddie Murphy did that.
Eddie Murphy
In the
plays
barbershop,
Eddie Murphy plays a Jew in the barbershop, doesn't
Does he?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Yes, yeah. They're doing a sequel to that, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
40 years later.
I don't really feel like, you know, if they want to do some humor, poking fun at some of the more absurd aspects of like American society, or you know, that'd probably be pretty funny. To be fair, like some of these guys are funny guys, you know.
Well, but humor is when you laugh at yourself or other people. That's what humor is. It's just taking the piss. No one should be taking it seriously.
No,
that's the thing. If you can't laugh, then what the fuck are you doing on this?
I think a hilarious skit, because there is like 2% of like black ladies who like they're genuinely like really demure kind of Christian girls, right? They're not these like twerking, like 98% of them are really loud and fucking, you know.
Well, God's own
but you do hang on, you do have this like rare. So like if those two sort of stereotypes were to meet in a skit, that'd be pretty funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they never do that. They can never, it's never produced to like, hey, let's kind of make fun of ourselves a bit and some other
How
groups.
do they write comedy now? Do they? I mean, because obviously in the past, people like you wrote Only
Okay.
Fools and Horses. They'd write the show, wouldn't they? And then they'd go, "Yeah, we'll
have-
put it on."
Yeah, what about Only
Okay,
Fools and
comedy
Horses? Because
now-
he calls Mickey and Jev on Ebony and Ivory, doesn't he? He's always taking the mick out of them too, isn't he?
Well, there's a bit in the early ones where they go to a gay bar by accident, and there's loads of like kind of what they would perceive as homophobic remarks in that episode.
Well, do you remember this on America's Got Talent back in like 2010? There was this like military vet guy who was doing a bit where he goes, "You're looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. Pants on the ground." Do you remember that?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. It was a bit that like this guy on like America's Got Talent did, which was making fun of like prison bitch thing that like makes you gangster summer. Yeah, but like comedy now is basically Netflix puts out quote unquote comedies. Aren't funny. They just push progressive politics.
Do you remember the Amy Schumer special that broke?
Yeah,
the rating
that's
system?
what got.
They had to fuck up
ratings.
the whole
They took ratings away.
rating system because she got tanked, absolutely tanked.
Yeah, and it was like, that is genuine popular opinion, and they got away with it. Now it's just thumbs up.
Yeah, people want to laugh because the world is so fucking serious. Yeah, they get into politics and don't they? Into social.
Do you remember the days of Black Panther? When you went, they were trying to say that on Rotten Tomatoes you weren't allowed to give a negative review to Black Panther.
Yeah, Saz, what?
I was gonna say I know that you're one of the people in here that watch Sunny in Philly. You ever notice how they make fun of the like progressives, like even though they are in real life progressive, and they'll constantly say something like, "Oh, I'm not racist."
See, I don't know about that.
And then like perfect episode was never they had like the black guy or whatever they thought they had they were cannibals, but they didn't want to eat the black person or whatever. But they're like, "Oh, we're not racist. It's not because we're racist." Like the entire show is built off of making fun of progressives.
Exactly. Always Sunny is actually, I quite enjoy that show. It's a little bit too nihilistic at times, hit and miss sometimes for me. But I have noticed that I've seen the main writer is the guy who plays Mac, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
And they sort of all write it together and stuff, and they do come up with some hilarious stuff. And to a degree, I am like, how are they getting away with this? Because this is kind of like fucking
it's on
funny.
Fox. It's on our cable, and the crazy thing is that they didn't have any Jews or anything to help them.
No, exactly.
They weren't able to pay one another. Like they're actually married. Like the waitress and Charlie, and then Dee and Mac. They're all married. Yeah, they're married, and so they didn't even have money to pay anybody. And then Danny DeVito eventually was like, "I will pay you if you let me."
Yeah, well, it is quite an enjoyable show because they are horrible people, and that is like the center of the comedy. But have you seen any interviews with Mac? So it is strange because he was actually raised, I think he was adopted by two lesbian women. And he grew up in Philadelphia where he was a minority as a white man. So like locally he said, he said when they were asking him what a minority was at school, he was like, well, I, as a straight white man, am a minority or a straight white boy or something. And I remember when he was on one of these shit, like, talk shows, like, who's the fucking cunt? Like, they're all interchangeable. Like, was it Jimmy Fallon? Conan or something? Yeah, he's saying that to the audience, and these sort of cherry pick guys are like, ah! Like, and it was quite funny. But I think that's the reason, because he might have grown up in that environment, but you can just tell that a lot of his friends that he's met were kind of based. And I think that a lot of the guys that he makes the show with, because he can write it with white people, there is not a lot of like kind of Jewish progressive interference. So that's why I quite like that show, because you could just tell. It's a similar thing with South Park, even though, like, the guy who plays Kyle is a Jew. He's not necessarily a fucking. I don't think he's a progressive one. I'm not sure.
They are. They are a little bit. They are a little bit.
I think when it comes to South Park, they know that they're their audience, and so they do throw these little subversive things in.
But do you remember in like 2014?
Positive discrimination isn't a new thing. There's anybody? I doubt one of you in here would remember. Do you remember a film called Soul Man, Donny?
Oh yeah.
Where the dude
With,
pretends to be
C. Thomas Howell. Yeah.
Yeah, where we has to pretend to be black to get a college place. I mean that's from the 80s.
The 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think with Always Sunny in particular, like
They do that episode too. They
Yeah.
they wake up one day and they're black.
I think they're generally like sort of libertarian leaning, which I know, haha, but at least it's not progressive because they do sort of represent. I remember there is quite a funny bit where he goes, "So now we piss off Democrats. Now we're gonna piss off like Republicans, and that sort of then we're playing both sides, so we get money." It's like I don't know. It would kind of amuse me, like because they can actually they're not so heavily. Either way, I know like centrist cooking kind of, but like they can make fun of the absurdities of both sides. But you know, they're still on TV, so you can't expect them to be like wholly based.
I think they criticize the left way more than they do the right.
Yeah, but the gun episode is quite amusing when.
About to go.
But I know that it's not just like people who lean our way who like Always Sunny. Like I do know some like kind of really left liberal NPC guys who like really enjoy it too. I don't know.
Oh, just so you know, but no, they're all like I've watched interviews on them. They aren't like centrist at all. They are actually progressive, like really progressive.
Well, you say them.
All four of them.
You think? But or do they just? But hang on. Look at their writing and then look what because with a lot of these Hollywood types, it is their job to say those kinds of things.
But this came out in 2005, before 2012, with the whole Obama takeoff and acceleration.
I think that helps the show a lot. By the way, the fact that it came out in 2005.
Like the very beginning, and they're like, "Well, how can you know?" If these are the views that you believe, they have so many episodes, like so many interviews that they've done, like on late nights and stuff like that, where they've actually, and like even charities that they've done that calls out for all.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not saying they're like the basest, the basedest, right? But I'm saying.
I think we say libertarians are like considered kind of based compared to liberals.
Yeah, anyway,
but
moving on. Anti-racism
Yeah, okay.
campaigners have renamed streets in Glasgow city centre that have links to the slave trade. Several streets, signs with a black background and white font, have appeared alongside the originals. Activists have replaced the names of tobacco merchants and slave owners in favour of black campaigners, slaves, and those who died in police custody. More than 11,000
I thought Glasgow was base.
Tobacco merchants? Oh, good.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but, okay, hang on, but like Glasgow, like 20 years ago, this was like, okay, it was rough as fuck, and it was, but I wouldn't expect that to come out of it. But then again, maybe I would.
Just, I bet they were Ulster Scots, weren't they?
But yeah, but I thought Glasgow would be like semi-based, you know, because.
Not really. It's basically a fucking communist state. What do you mean it could be based?
Well, basically, there's a lot of underclass there, and it's really fucking, you know. So, you need to be able to have somewhere like that, they're probably going to lean more our way, because it's more might is right. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of surprised at that. But I haven't been to Glasgow ever, so and I've never met anyone from Glasgow really. I've only ever met Scottish people.
Lacey Marie there, Geralt. You know.
Oh, now it all makes sense.
Is Paisley in Glasgow then?
I think it's in that area, isn't it?
Oh, I found an article where Boris Johnson blasts the thuggery of UK's Black Lives Matter protest. Well, fuck that. Fuck him. Fuck that. What else? Do we want to? I found just one absolutely horrific article. Man appalled by Morrison's delivery substitute for Hendo's relish. This is from the Yorkshire Echo.
Of course, it's in Yorkshire.
Yorkshire Live. Sheffield man appalled as Morrison hendos for Worcestershire sauce. The shopper was so incensed he took to Twitter and shared the faux pas, courtesy of Morrison's, asking, "Hey, hashtag Sheffield, who wants to tell at Morrison's what's wrong with this?" And this is a fucking story, Jesus Christ. Hobbit, you interested in this one?
Good.
Hobbit's not.
Is he still in the bath?
Yeah, he's still into Tim Bath. Are you making a pie?
Is he still on bath salts?
He's making a pie.
Oh, is that a euphemism?
I don't know.
No, I just heard bath. I just thought
There's
it'd be
no point in
like,
euphemisms because you always go, "Oh, I'm going for a shit." See you later, lads.
Yeah.
Nature call.
Teach me some Midlands rhyming slang, then, Emmy.
Do you want to do NHS patients share latest pictures of horror meals served up on wards?
No,
because we've gone on a bit of a gross food tip lately in VCs, haven't we?
No, let's not do that.
The good, the bad, and the unidentifiable NHS patients share more pictures of their horror meals served up on the wards.
No thanks, bro.
In what appears to pay, I'll just read out a bit. In what appears to pay little heeds to the needs of sick patient, these pictures show meals consisting of drab-looking sausages, congealed pasta, and luminous-looking sauces. Baked potato served with a side of potato balls. Oh dear, do you want me to put this in general so you I'll put it in doodling pad so you lot can find it.
To be fair, when I was in hospital, the food hasn't been too bad. It's not been cuisine.
That looks dry as fuck. That does, the potato with the potato balls.
Do you know what? It depends where you are on the actual delivery cycle. So if you get the final ward when they're pushing it round, it's all going to be in a hot plate, which fucking dries the shit out of food, and it's going to be awful. If you get the first lot, I imagine it's going to be acceptable, but once you get towards the end, it's grim. But yeah, it's they're not chefs in hospitals generally because they're the top of the tree. Aren't they?
Top of the food chain, you could say.
Food chain. Boom boom.
Finger platter left consisting of lumps of cheese, ham and 2 lonely tomatoes was served up to Kelly Baker at the Royal United Hospital in Bath, while another patient was given this unappetising pasta baked during a 4-week stay at the Royal Cornwall Hospital. That does look like it's just been slopped on there, doesn't it?
I've never done a pasta bake in my life, not even a lasagna, which is like the traditional pasta bake.
Have you seen that? It looks like it's not quite as bad as the vegetable stroganoff served with baked beans.
Oh no, thank you. I'll pass on that.
That literally looks like someone's vomited on the plate.
I would. I'm trying not to spoil my appetite because I'm not sure if the audience can hear that, but I've got some beige food cooking.
Nice.
Oh. Well, I've got some sausages and I've got some of the leftover Greek potatoes, which is a great idea. If you don't know what Greek potatoes are, you look them up. They're good. It's good.
What do Greek potatoes be?
So it's roast potatoes, but you put like a pint of chicken stock over it with lemon juice, garlic, and oregano.
No yogurt.
Oh.
Holy fucking shit! Boys, have you seen the Black Lives Matter and Antifa thugs have demanded the statue of Robert Milligan be removed from West India Quay?
It's already been done.
Council's doing it, and they want Churchill gone next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So land of grub and glory.
Yeah.
What's for dinner? I can't face all the deprivations of our society on an empty stomach, mate. I need to eat.
How long before Nelson's
I'm in the kitchen?
Mate, I reckon Hobbit, you're bigger than Nelson's column.
I'm not as tall as Nelson's column, but yeah.
I think you're broader though, aren't you?
He's a big guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a big
So I
guy.
mean, I reckon between
Yeah.
like if you show up in no shoes and you kick some of these people trying to take it in the face, like
No. I'm gonna. The thing is, the ultimate white supremacist act is to stay at home and just let the police and Antifa sort. And that's white supremacy. That is.
but like
Just staying at home.
the council is doing this. I don't even know who Robert Milligan is, but it's a statue of my people.
It's my homeboy.
It's my own boy. My in-group preference is strong.
Let-
yeah,
let me-
you
let
get
me
me.
Let me finish off this gross food. So now we got 2 baked potatoes, no sauce dressing, not even any butter or even opened up. And then there's that the sausage casserole. What do you think of the sausage casserole? You got the sausage on there. You got the sauce, and then you've got the grease outlining the sauce. you see the grease around the edge of that.
Yeah, I'll pass. I'll pass.
How about the
But hopefully
mac
that statue
and
Robert
cheese?
Milligan gets replaced with.
The mac and cheese, what looks like a fritter, because it's all burnt around the edge.
Is mac and cheese black people food?
No, I think it's
Saz?
pussy people food.
Taz?
Yeah.
Mac and cheese, is it black people food?
Ooh.
A block of cheese.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
Oh, mac and cheese.
Is it jogger food?
Not necessarily. I think it's the way that you cook it. Like if you're gonna use like just really cheap ass ingredients and stuff like that, then of course anything's jogger. But if you like actually a decent one and
Out of the box.
out of the box, that's jogger. That's all jogger.
I remember Meghan Markle. She was saying that she has a pantry with Kraft mac and cheese, and I was like, at the time in Buckingham Palace, you have access to the best chefs in the world, and you're having Kraft mac and cheese.
I'm not gonna lie, I have had Kraft mac and cheese. That shit, it's not that. It's pretty good because it's like a it's a brand. It's called Velveeta, and it's like one of the more expensive cheeses that you have here. It's like I don't know, $9 for a block, and so they have it where it's
Isn't it basically just like a really bland pasta carbonara? I mean, I've never liked pasta carbonara.
I've never liked mac and cheese because it's always been
My
too
sister
bland for
makes
me.
her own pasta. So like for Christmas or something, like she'll make
That's
her
why
own
you spice
pasta,
it, Hemi.
and then she'll do it like that. So I
I've
don't
no
think
spices,
Nog
it's
does
white.
But
I'd
you know,
stuff
you got to use
mayonnaise
your
on everything.
you must use your paprika and your red salt and
Paprika?
you do not use Wensleydale. You do not use Wensleydale. You use red Leicester.
I only like the most mature of English cheddar.
Yeah,
One
I too go for the milk cheddar.
One celiac patient shared this photo, which showed a gluten-free meal consisting of veg left and questionable piece of pork on the right.
I imagine, I imagine, like an interesting experience with Hobbit would be various cheeses on crackers and sampling them. And he sort of encourages you to enjoy the different flavors, talks you through them, how they're made, and you come away quite like feeling quite yeah, you feel quite upper class. You feel quite enriched by this. I imagine, yeah.
What do you think to that apple
the cheese
crumble,
factory
then,
with Hobbit?
Hobbit, what do you think to that apple crumble? Oh, is he gone? That apple crumble looks nice, doesn't it?
Oh, sorry. I'm saying I'm not looking at any of this stuff. I'm in the kitchen phone.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at this any stuff you're about to. Oh my fucking god! Look at this. It looks like fucking 3 shades of diarrhea on a plate.
So you know the absolute rage of like get back in the kitchen.
I'll put it in the doodling pad, Mosley, if you want to have a look for it. It's the NHS patient story.
It's not get back in the kitchen with Hobbit. It's get the fuck out of my kitchen.
Speaking of which, what do you think of my underdone sausage?
Excuse me?
Oh, the rest of it looks alright.
Did you not
that's
look in the
horrible.
doodling?
Why would you say
an omelette? An omelette.
Oh shit! We got 4 conversations going on at once. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm the fucking host, so you listen to mine. Shut the fuck up. I'm
talking
going
about
to do
me?
this. I'm going to ruin all of your conversations until it is done. If we have to stay late, you keep talking amongst yourselves. If we have to stay until it's done, we have to stay till it's done.
And you missed the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mr. Hemming, Games Master's on
Hobbit,
tonight.
do you want to be in
I don't want to be late
detention,
to the
Hobbit?
game.
Do you want to be in detention?
I want to watch Games. No, I don't. I want to watch Games Master. It's at 6 p.m. tonight.
Oh, stick to the subject.
Stop talking then.
Oh, Remy! The show
Is this
must
a
go
boomer
on.
joke?
Games Master with Patrick Moore.
So the next one we got, it's an omelette that looks like a Yorkshire pudding with just some sweet corn dumped on there. Oh, that fucking apple! You see the state of that apple? Oh dear. I mean, how many people die from the food in? I nearly said prison, but I mean hospital.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, I think you probably get.
Apparently, most of the prison food is not it's not fit for human consumption.
No, it's not.
Don't they use
No.
that red milk? What's it called? You got semi
Red milk. Oh,
you know the red
skimmed.
cap ones.
Yeah,
Red
skimmed.
Yeah, I think they use that in prisons. I think, because it's basically.
Well, I'm
I had
told
it once.
in
That was a disaster.
HM prison, the budget per prisoner is like £1.50 a day.
Right. See, I have been watching quite a bit more. I might have mentioned it to some of the other people before, but Sean Atwood has a really interesting channel, a lot better than a lot of the stuff you'd see on TV. And what I found interesting was I related a little bit more to some of the guests he's had and him and like his friend than a lot of like the I don't know, like the really larpy kind of fake figures that we tend to get in this thing, because it's more, yeah, I could sit around with these guys and sort of like how do you say it? Like shoot the shite, right? I don't know, I just found it quite interesting. I'm like, these you know, good sense of humor guys, like obviously Sean Atwood, you know, completely turned his life around. Like, you know, he taught schools telling people not to get into drugs, but he also made the point that, you know, if you're in there for weed for like 7 years, I'm not that guy, but like, I don't know, he makes some interesting points. You know, he doesn't shy away from stuff like these, but a lot of these guys he's talking to were pretty yeah, I don't know, they'd be like, you know, you need to be able to throw down if you need to, but it's not about that. So yeah, I don't know, I just found them to be pretty honest, like fairly like kind of halfway based, like now moral dudes who aren't trying to like, they're not trying, he's not going to talk to someone who's trying to send you down the wrong path, right? They talk about a lot of local problems. They talk about a lot of very interesting stuff. So
Local
I do
problems for
recommend it.
local people.
Yeah.
This is a
It's-
local shop. There's nothing for you here.
Is it a
Yeah,
no-tail,
like,
Edward? You want to talk about vagina beer, stag semen, and space yeast, outrageous ingredients used to market craft booze?
Oh no, you're not going to talk about that minge beer and minge bread, are you?
Minge beer and minge bread.
How does
Yeah.
okay? Why does
Feminist
yeast grow in women's fannies?
Oh no!
Because it's a warm, moist environment.
Yeah.
It's the ideal conditions
Can
for
we
you.
please not?
Yeast can grow anywhere. Then fungus.
Yes.
I mean, your body is warm and moist. Why don't
Well,
Yeast is technically in the air around you all the time.
really?
Is it
Yeah.
like God then?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you use it to make beer. So
close.
Yeah. And
I
bread
used to
and
work
manna
in
falls
heaven.
from heaven.
Hello, be my lemonade.
That reminds me of something I read years ago. It's like, you know when they ask kids about stuff and they come up with funny answers. So someone said about God, he's like he's everywhere and nowhere. So the kid said he's a bit like a gas then.
Yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
go with
it's not
that.
wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
What about plasma?
or the fourth state of matter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Listen, I've shot more plasma in Halo when I was 12.
Mate.
than tits you'll ever
Chad
have.
shoots
when
plasma
we
for
all getting
lesbians
here,
in hotel rooms.
Oh God, not that.
What?
Okay.
Are you not aware of our Chad Scuggy and what he gets up to with lesbians in hotel rooms?
No.
Yeah.
I want to.
You don't know? Okay.
No.
I was
Hey,
educated on
take
this.
it. Take it.
I was
Please.
educated on this last week. It's an enlightening experience.
Oh God.
And who's giving Scuggy the TLDR on our Chad?
Do you want me to, or should you?
Go on, you do the TLDR.
Right. Okay. So there's a kid. He's not a kid. He's my age actually. He should be a man by now, but he's not. So how do I talk you through this? So it comes out that this guy said that he
doesn't come out. Chad's extremely proud of this fact.
Yeah. He is very proud of it. But the way I discover, well, I'll talk you through my journey with Chad Gold. Okay, I'll talk you through my journey with Chad Gold. So he sends me for some reason, he's talking about incel stuff. I'm saying, well, why do you think you're incel, mate? And then, he sends me a picture of himself. And I'm like, well, dude, no, you're not going to get girls when you're like, you have posted one picture of you looking like you've never interacted with another human being. You are completely monotonous. Like, you are in a low light setting and you have taken a selfie on a train and you're wearing a grandad jumper. That does not suggest you are trustworthy. You didn't even do your hair, big guy. So,
that was
he
his
goes,
dating
no, I'm
pic.
moving.
That picture.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And then he goes, so I give him some like decent advice. I'm like, no, you need good lighting, you need to do your hair, you need to dress well, you need to, you got to think, would a girl respond to this well? Which he didn't. And then, so then I'm talking, well, what's going on with you, mate? Like, you got friends and stuff, and it's basically learned helplessness. And then eventually it gets so bad that he starts talking about his life. And he says, because he is too lazy through learned helplessness to learn to interact with other people, to like learn how to converse and stuff, just make observations and whatever you do, crack jokes. He then said on the black market, by the way, Geralt, there is, it's very expensive to do artificial insemination legally. So there are apps that you can get, Geralt, where you
Did you know
go on the black market.
Not only are there apps, but there are also Facebook groups dedicated to the matter as well.
Absolutely. And you can go up to two Les's houses from this black market and Facebook group, spunk in a cup for them, then they take a turkey baster and shoot it up themselves.
Oh,
By the way, this was like 10 months ago. I have now created a child who is white, so that must please you. Now, I have never talked to or seen this child. I just sort of got text. And that is what I plan to do, but not just here, globally, because I believe they all need to be bleached. So Brazil.
Does he get paid for this though? Does he get paid for it? Or is he doing it for free?
No. See. Basically, he made no profit because they covered his train fare. So he says in Brazil, Brazil. He wants to go there because they are desperate for, Chad Gold's Aryan semen, the complete autist who couldn't get a single match on Tinder. Literally this time because of his personality. Because believe it or not, you can convey personality through a picture.
Can it be because of his personality when he hasn't got one?
So he decided, instead of getting a group of friends, instead of moving somewhere that like I actually want to live and fulfilling personal ambitions, or meeting some like-minded dudes who can sort of man me up a bit, getting involved in some contact spots, shooting some guns, like doing something great, he thinks he's just going to move to the Philippines or the Thailand to go, get a waifu there.
It's the only way to become a true nationalist, to have Southeast Asian babies, isn't it?
Yeah. A true white nationalist, absolutely makes children with Southeast Asians, and the reasoning is they can't tell that you're autistic. They think all white people are the same. Like, they genuinely... So if you're one of these autistic incels who has learned helplessness, like, they can't tell, like, the minutiae between... Just as you can't tell it with them, you know? They're basically all autistic anyway, so they can't tell that you're autistic, right?
Well, they do
so
kind
that's
of
the
like,
reason.
you make baby, aren't they? They're like that, aren't they? Which is kind of like...
No, you come... Well, what was the old joke I used to do? Like, no, you come now! Now! You come now! Right? So they can't... Yeah. And I don't think this kid realizes how... I call him a kid, even though he's older than me, but, like, fuck me, it's like
big guy.
Delayed learned helplessness, delayed development, you know? Like, I think I've got it with the ADHD, but maybe I don't. Like...
Have you not seen Sojourner's video, the Sperminator? That covers all this.
The Sperminator, yeah.
Yeah.
So he needs to spread his genes. Yeah, he also wants to go to Africa. But instead of just sort of getting a grip on his life and coming to his senses, he comes out with these rare, obscure stories about this, like, French sped who went all across North Africa in a fourth world country mud huts, creating children.
Lucky Pierre won the lottery, and then he used it for holidays in Africa, where he gave like 400 to 600 euros to get like black women pregnant. He's got about 600 children, and he's HIV now.
Oh no!
Negative.
I got really
HIV
angry at this guy.
That was.
Yeah, I got really angry at this guy though, because I'm like, you've left like. No, it's you've left this like kid to be raised by two lesbians, even though you say you go to Paul and you sort of agree with us, and like, instead of just actually working on your personality, Inkle, right? you're literally coming up with these weird Talmudic real life loopholes to not have to address yourself. It's like, holy shit! Just hang out with some normal people.
God's own says not even a blowjob delivery.
No, not even. So it's just like, dude, like this kid is now going to be raised in probably an abusive household by two fucking fat lesbian dykes.
He'll be good at plumbing though.
And he's just like, oh yeah, they were white though, so that's like white nationalism done. And like, I'm like, you're taking like. If you don't understand aesthetics or like romanticism or like, building a life with a woman and like, getting into a community and all that, so like, why bother? Right? Why bother? Like, you are literally an insect. If he thinks like an insect, he might as well go marry a gook, actually. He might as well go to Southeast Asia.
Jesus Christ, what a fucking roller coaster this is.
Yeah, so but dude, this has been happening. This kid is still in our Telegram, like. So that's a cow of the day. First it was Grant, now it's Chad. Now, yeah.
So a former Miss Hitler beauty pageant contestant has been jailed for 3 years for being part of a banned extreme right group. Alice Cutter.
NA.
Alice Cutter entered the Twisted competition under the name of the Buchenwald Princess, a reference to Second World War death camp where 56,545 people were starved to death, executed, or designed. Holy fuck! Are they telling the truth now? A Second World War death camp where 56,545 people were starved to death, executed, or died of disease. So they're not even saying the Hollabunga.
No.
Oh. Holy fuck. That's pretty
No,
nice.
but listen. The implication is they were forcibly starved.
Yeah. The 23-year-old exchanged hundreds of messages with members of the hate group National Action, of many of which were racist and anti-Semitic. I'll tell you, Mark must be glad that he doesn't know anybody in National Action.
I mean, it is interesting that I mentioned we never seem to come across or talk to these types, so they just come across as plants.
Yeah. Her ex-partner, Mark Jones, former member of the British National Party's youth wing, was also convicted of being a member and was jailed for 5.5 years today. Also convicted of the same offence were Gary Jack from Shard End and 19-year-old Connor Scothen of Nottingham. Today, Jack was jailed for 4.5 years, while Scothen was handed an 18-month sentence. Oh, you bastard. She was bet with a siege mask on, wasn't she? You've seen a picture of her?
Hang on. What's the crime?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Being
what they've
being
been
a
charged
member
under.
of a prescribed group.
Terrorist organisation. Is that?
Yeah.
But I was actually watching on BitChute. Tommy Robinson did an interview with Paul Golding, and they were trying to charge Paul Golding, who is a legitimate politician, regardless of what you think of him.
Do you want to do the story about the dumbest tourist ever reaches from a car to pet a lion?
Oh, yeah, okay, or just cut me off. Like, I'll be quick. Don't worry. Right. Listen. Okay, basically, he came back from an airport where he did a speech on the mainstream media news in Russia. And then when he came back, SO15 basically took him into a room, asked him for the codes to his laptop and his phone, and he said no, because he had sensitive information, and there's precedent for the government getting access to that, leaking it to The Guardian, and then all of the members of his group being then leaked. So it's sensitive information. They detained him under the Terrorist Act of 2015, I think, to some kind of act. But he wasn't actually charged. They didn't suspect him of terrorism. It was the Terrorism Act. And then he had to go to court, which I think he was acquitted of it, but he wasn't. Basically, the charge was he didn't give them the codes. So I think he did win the case. But what the papers would have said was that he was charged under, like, the Terrorism Act.
Yeah, we're giving no details of the actual backstory.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
we
like how they
don't
frame
know
it.
about these NA people. Like, NA is gay. We would say that if they are actually, we don't have anything to do with them. And we don't come across those types, as far as I know. No one has ever promoted it to us, and we probably wouldn't support it if they did. But I'm very interested to know what the specifics of that case were. That's it. You can talk about, like, your donkey lion piss bucket or whatever it was now.
fucking dumbass tries to pet a fucking lion. You dickhead. The absolute fucking numpty.
Where was this?
On the Serengeti. So it's people telling him to close the fucking window. Fucking bellend.
Where's that?
Close the window, lad. These things are a bit volatile.
Yeah, they're a bit bitey.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't know, this gigantic predatory fucking beast that absolutely is not a domestic house pet is a bit bitey.
He looks a bit
You haven't
Australian.
evolved in
He looks
an
a bit
environment with
Australian,
more of these than we have, but, it's pretty dangerous.
I want to see what this one is as well. Cheeky Dog's rude cameo forces yoga teacher to abandon online class. She's going to get humped by the dog.
A dog humping a yoga instructor's leg made her quit the entire thing.
During a recent attempt to film a class, Bobby strolled into the living room clutching a pillow, and Jane knew exactly what was coming next. The Labrador pays absolutely no attention to his owner's protests. He sets up directly in front of the camera and gets to work vigorously humping the pillow.
Do you know what you do? Like, every year, if you got a Labrador, like, people generally want more Labradors, so you just take it to let it make more, and then it'll probably be right.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like, castrating dogs, I'm not into castrating dogs, personally.
Not the smartest tools in the shed, though, are they? The sharpest tools in the shed, are they? Labradors in the dog world. I mean, they love the animals. They're not known for, like, they're a bit low IQ.
Labradors, are they?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, the brown Labradors are even worse. So I've spoken to owners.
They're very obedient and very nice.
They're lovely. I love the animals,
yeah.
but they're not.
I'd probably get a rough or border collie. I prefer a rough collie, actually, but, like, if I had a male, I'm not gonna chop his balls off. I just bring it upright, and then probably actually it's like, well, we do need more of these, so maybe like a couple times a year, I'll just be like, yeah, all right, fucking.
Oh, you listen to this
bitch.
tweet Ellen DeGeneres gets fucking attacked for. Not that I'm fucking sticking up for her, but like so many of you, I am angry and I am sad. People of colour in this country have faced injustice for far too long. For things to change, we must change. We must commit ourselves to this change with conviction and with love. She got slammed for being too vague with that tweet.
Who is this?
This is that lesbian comedian woman, isn't it?
Oh,
Degenerate.
Ellen.
the
Yeah,
lesbian.
well, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, but this is what they're saying. In the end, you can't win with them. They'll eat. They eat you in the end, don't they? No matter how much you bend over backwards to be on their side, they'll just turn on you in the end, no matter what you do or what you say.
So what's my waifu Alice Grant been saying?
I don't know. She's not on there, is she?
Yeah, she's on Twitter. Yeah.
What's she been saying?
Oh, she's 1 hour ago.
Oh, this
she
is
said,
the one I was going to do. I haven't done yet. The retired vicar of an 81-year-old former vicar who married his Romanian toy boy lover who was 50 years his junior, has died alone in a hospital in Bucharest.
Didn't he give all his money away?
Let's have a look.
He said V.
Following his death, 27-year-old widow Florin Marin said he cried for 2 days, but he's now looking forward to enjoying his inheritance of 150 grand life insurance payout and a 2 grand for a month for life pension.
Wow.
He also receive £100,000 house that Philip transferred into his name before he died. Florin said his rapid mourning period was over, as his late husband would not like to see him see him sad. 2 whole days. 2 whole days he was grieving for.
Wow, steady on there, lad. Steady on there.
The couple met online on the online gay dating site Gaydar and got married 3 years ago in Kent, but their relationship...
I thought that was a joke.
But
I thought it was a joke.
Apparently it is a thing. You live and learn.
You live and learn, yeah.
Hold on. Before that, there's a bit... People will think that I am a widow with a black hat who is crying. And I did cry, but 2 days is enough.
Right, that's enough of that. On with my life.
Yeah.
Christ, I wish I was that based. Still fucking mate. Like, I'm still like sat here, like every now and then, like thoughts enter my brain, like fucking, oh, this girl from 4 years ago, and then 2, and then maybe 10. Oh, what if and then fucking,
this guy's like, fuck.
Yeah,
I've had enough. Mate.
Yeah,
fuck him. Fuck him. He's dead.
Enjoy my inheritance.
The couple met on the online dating site Gaydar and got married 3 years ago in Kent, but their relationship hit the rocks when Mr. Clements moved to Bucharest and rolled over Mr. Marin, clubbing into the early hours of the morning. Fucking idiot, moving back home with him. Did he really think he'd be fucking respected and looked after? Fucking cunt probably push him down the stairs or something, didn't he?
Well, he probably poisoned him or something. Yeah.
Crikey.
He must have space to be with younger people. It's very important that when there's this big age difference. We've both learnt a lot, the bloke said before he died.
Okay, can we talk about that then? What do we think isn't like an acceptable difference between men and women? Like,
I don't think it's the actual age gap. I think it's more like the ages of the two people involved.
All right, so let's say the guy is 50.
So I'd say anything. What do you think? If like one of them's over 30 and the other one's under 20, is that a bit creepy?
Yeah,
it depends who. Actually,
I think that is that's creepy.
So, hang on a minute. So let's say that like the golden one and Blair Cottrell have a mud wrestle. What then?
What are their ages? Neither of those are under 20.
No.
Yeah, but let's.
That's a bad analogy.
I'm amazed that I didn't land. I'm actually amazed.
What about the golden one absolutely dominating Keith Woods?
No, I'm just.
Is that creepy?
Wow, I'm amazed.
Weird,
I thought that was.
Right?
No, I thought I was setting up a bit of like misdirection, but like fuck, it didn't land. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Like, Okay, but let's say that, like, all right. So let's say you're actively involved. You're a father.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So then, like, you're like what 42 or something. Like your daughter's like 21.
Yeah.
Like, if this like guy who is like employed, like you share sense of humor and stuff, like he gets along with you, seems to make your daughter really happy. He shoots guns, like he's a bloke's bloke. Like he's not a pussy, but like also he can talk about you with philosophy or something. He's overall a good dude.
Are you
there's
talking
no reason
about
not to like that
the
dude.
dad having a relationship with the boyfriend?
Yes. Yes. And then so eventually those two go upstairs because they realize they've got androphile love.
And you watch, is that
they've
creepy?
No. Yes.
So how old is this bloke then?
How old is the guy who's shooting the guns and is in good shape and everyone likes, he's like 21. Right.
Is this based on personal
The
experience?
other dude
Carol?
is about the
Have
other dude is like 20.
Dad come on to you. Is this where it is? Is this coming from personal experience, Grant?
Yeah.
Crack the code, Emmy. We cracked
Is
the
that
code.
situation wrong? Is it wrong if like one of those grappler fishes with the light uses a child to ensnare other if like one of those fish uses like they're like
This
you know.
conversation, man. Jeez.
But it's all it's all androphilic. There's no like lisping. There's no lisping. There's no
The kettle's
fairies.
done. The kettle's done.
Right. Like what?
The moral mate. Are we doing the moral maze
No, but seriously now, right?
I don't think we can be serious after all that.
Hang on, like, so say a guy who was like, let's say about 10 years older, was like interested in your daughter, but you genuinely did like get like he was a good guy.
Say this guy's name's Frank, and the other guys say called Geralt.
Like, could those guys theoretically use the daughter to then bum like each other away from the door?
Oh my word!
Like, let's.
Oh dear, fucking hell! Surely a more straightforward one be just like, is it okay for a dad to fuck his daughter's mates? Can't you just do something fucking normal like that, girl?
Is this the sort of question Lemming would ask? No, Lemming from Motorhead.
Oh, okay. But no, listen, I'm not talking about fags. I'm not talking about like homosexuals. I'm just purely talking about this from the androphilic perspective.
This fella called Frank that you've never met, is that you absolutely never met? Is that
my
what we're talking about,
imagination.
Geralt?
Is it okay?
Was it raining outside? Was it a cold, dark night?
If it wasn't okay, but what would you do?
What if he got the daughter pregnant while he was doing it?
Oh my word!
Well, he's not gonna, is he? Because
What if the daughter was
he's
pregnant?
not actually interested. in it.
What if the daughter was pregnant and the boyfriend and the father had fell in love? Would that be all right?
Well, obviously not. Right. No, like,
I'm not
no,
quite sure what you're
seriously,
setting
like,
up
I'm
here.
not meaning.
I'm not sure what you're telling us to okay for you.
Right. I'm not memeing. I'm saying, like, no, hang on a minute.
You asking for the green light?
Yes.
Is this something that's occurred in your personal life, Grub?
Yeah, well, no, I had the opposite, you know.
God's own says it's
I had
just
the
Geralt's
opposite.
woes moment.
The opposite. You were hit on somebody's dad.
No. I had the opposite. I had the opposite happen, where it's like, you know.
Grub, was this when you were 17, was it, Grub? When you were 17 in the gay scene, Grub?
No. I'm saying the opposite happened.
Really, really easy to hit on people's dads.
Right, listen. No. It's like Have you ever had like? There's been about 2, 3, maybe exes where
What? Where the
their
dads come
mums
on
are
to you?
really.
Old guys.
No. I'm saying it's the opposite. I'm saying
What,
the
where you've come
opposite.
on to the
I'm
dad?
saying no. Where like it's. It's like you've got these 3 like their mums are really hot.
What are you talking about the mums for when you're mentioning the dad? This is some serious fucking backpedaling you're doing here, mate.
I said,
Fucking
what if
hurry to make this
it
get
was
down.
the opposite? Okay.
So, Geralt, what was your tickle me Elmo moment in 2020 then?
Well, it was when I decided that when I was 17, it was
In the
very
gay scene.
easy. No, but like, okay, like in all seriousness, if like let's say that you were a dad, and like you not in a gay way, but like a guy who's like
Androphilic, yeah.
androphilically younger than you, like by like 10 years, but like your daughter, there's a gap there. Like, would you be okay with the daughter and the androphilic like 30-year-old guy like getting together? Well, you might be, There's like a 10-year gap, but it's not.
Is it just me that's missing something here, or is it everybody else as well?
Yeah,
I haven't been able to follow.
What are you
any of
missing?
this,
What are
mate.
you missing?
This
What are
is
you
the most
missing?
convoluted story I've ever come across.
How is
Interesting,
it?
you fancied your girlfriend's dad.
No, I fancy my girlfriend. Right. This is projection and deflection because I fancied my girlfriend's mum.
What did you
wanted to be a
what did you
sandwich
just
with
say
daughter
that
and
then?
dad.
What did you just say that then?
Oh, because it was funny.
Yeah.
Because it was funny.
How old was the mum? How old were you?
Oh, mate, I was like, oh, there's been a few, like when I was like 17. Imagine her mum
In the
was
gay
like
scene.
in her 30s. Probably not in the gay scene. I was like, I get along with your mum, and she likes me more than. And then there was a different time where I'm like, I get along with your mum better than you. And it's like I don't know. I've come across that a few times actually, but like not that anything happened.
Okay.
But it's more like you. I don't know. It's like your mum's more
prefer them
trad than
all-
you.
You prefer
Your
them
mum's
to
more
the
trad than you.
older
Does that
woman?
make sense?
Well, they probably are.
Why didn't you just say that instead of this elaborate fucking gay shit?
Because it was funny.
I thought Donnie was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah, done it.
Because it was fucking. Because it was fucking funny to redirect it. You understand that on like the comedy show. Eh?
I think you're doing a bit more than redirection there, Grant.
Well, your voice broke, so I don't believe you.
I came for the food, and oh, by the way, the beige food I did, Stuggy, it was good. So you're right. Beige food is best food.
Yes,
I enjoyed that. That was 8 sausages with some leftover spuds.
Listen, big guys.
Literally,
like, Greg,
all I said was like it'd be better if like it's kind of weird if the person's over 30 and the kid's under 20. I just said that's weird.
that would be quite weird, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, there shouldn't
So
be.
we
an
didn't
age
need to go over that whole diatribe at all.
Yeah, but you had
just
belly
let-
laughs
just
at
let
you.
Grant
Fucking. What are you
Gabe,
talking about? Like,
Gabe, just let Grant. Just let Grant
listen,
pretend he's doing
listen.
a bit. He just we'll tell him he's got away with it.
I'm fine with that. I am.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Listen, big guy.
yeah. I'm listening.
You're
I am a big guy.
You're a big guy.
For you.
For you.
You need the glass, mate.
So anyway, how's your week been?
Hmm?
How's everybody's week been? It's been the whole week since I last spoke to you
Nobody
guys.
cared who it was until I put on the chaps.
Nobody knew who I was until I put on the Hobbit feet.
I was born, madam.
Yeah, no, well, Hobbit, I've been, I've been saying, well, yeah, no, actually, I said do a cooking tutorial.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm just going to
Patria-
recommend.
Angus Patria said the absolute state of Geralt's prolapsed arsehole.
Oh, that's nasty.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's the one imagining it, so.
So last week, sat on this face. Last week, I learnt how to do modular synthesis. You can see evidence of such on my channel. Little by little, I'm learning more. So,
Don't forget
I
emergency
just wanna
game
do-
show.
Oh yeah, there's the emergency
Wednesday
game
nights.
show too. Yeah, yeah. I think I might get tabletop simulator, and then like I could play Monopoly or something.
That'd be fun.
Take it in turns to throw the dice.
Oh, we've got the next few weeks of this week. We're doing Dennis Nielsen on 14 words. The next couple of weeks we've got some guests on. We've got Ian's back to do the Enfield Haunting the following week, and then the week after that, Coletti and Saz are going to do the Weather Underground. They're going to do a 2-part for us.
Oh, because I was going to say, can we do like 14 words about worst career and the really weird things that have happened there? I posted it in the Telegram group.
You've got some worst. What do you mean worst career?
So, worst career. There was rumours going around that the president, I think her name's Sun Kinky Moon or something. There was rumours that she's mind controlled by this psychic cult. And the rumors are true, and she's come out on national television begging the South Koreans for forgiveness, and they were having protests in 2017 and 2018 about it, like saying,
I thought Kim Jong had offed her because it was all a big gay up, that him dying on the table.
Well, that happened this year, and it did happen this year, wasn't it? But then this happened 2 years ago, and it was just like, nobody's talked about this. Like in South Korea, it's just like, oh yeah, our president's a mind control victim, and she's begging for forgiveness, and she's still the president of South Korea.
Okay, so that's a bit weird.
I'm thinking this is in the realms of 14 words, and that's why we should do an episode on it.
Can do. You got enough material for an episode?
14
words.
Yes,
get
because
David Icon.
It's not just that. I want to talk about all the things that worst Korea does, which is fucked up, like circumcision, poo wine, the Moonanites cult.
Christ, what's that?
What, the Moonies?
Poo
They
wine.
do these mass weddings.
No, it's like a.
Oh, the Moonies are South Korean, are they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they filled up Madison Garden in the 80s.
Oh, sorry, something was playing on my end. I thought you were playing it.
Hold on, can I just interject with a tiny little piece of news I've just been sent? Apparently, Liverpool University are changing the name of Gladstone Hall after former Prime Minister William Gladstone because apparently his dad owned slaves.
I hope they rename it Stormzy Hall. Or
So basically, we do have a massive problem with white shit libs. Like, let's stop pretending.
Yeah, that's the real problem, isn't it? The real problem. It isn't the JCBs. It's the white shit libs.
No, it's none of anybody except the white libs. They are the ones who, if they were to step aside, and not cause a problem, there wouldn't be any problem.
You know what would be more convenient rather than spending all this time wiping us out and genocide and stuff? What would be easier would be to just go back to Africa where everything's all milk and honey, and you don't have to put up with such racism and evilness.
I did see, and I don't know if this was actually confirmed. Supposedly, the president of Gambia basically said, "Oh, if you don't like it in the US, come here. We'll treat you better."
Oh, it's Ghana.
Was it Ghana? Well,
yeah.
Well,
Ghana,
that's kind of I've said this
give a shit
before.
about.
I've said this on Twitter, on Facebook before. I've just been like, if we're so bad, I agree. We are racist. We are bad. We are awful. So you should leave. You should go back to your people.
Yeah, exactly. Because they know their people are, because they'll back Floyd, who's 4,000 miles away. So they know who their people are. There's no mistake about who their people are when it comes to certain crunch events. The rest of the time it's I don't know, what's British anyway, aren't they? But when it comes to an event like Floyd, like a drug dealer dying, then it's all about the solidarity then, isn't it?
Exactly.
Or when they win the World Cup, according to them. Booga booga.
And then all of a sudden there is no civic identity, which We've said.
Well, Yorkshire won the Olympics, didn't it?
Oh, mate. Based.
Yorkshire won the Olympics?
Yeah, don't you remember
how does that work?
2012, all the medals that went to people from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Yorkshire can fuck off to Scotland.
No.
I mean, but like, basically, yeah.
They can just be like, oh, aye, there's no better Scotsman than the one from Yorkshire. We're the best Scotsmen in the world. We're so good. The English couldn't stand us, so we're no longer part of England. I'm from up north. Yorkshire.
This channel is trying to piss off every single person we can possibly find.
To be fair, we've gone pretty easy on PA this week.
Yeah.
So, you know, Brutus's plan is like, we're going to infiltrate the Tory party. I'm going to be Minister of Agriculture. Who's going to be Home Secretary? Who's going to change it so that Yorkshire's part of Scotland and no longer part of us?
I'll do that if you want, Hobbit.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, no. Oh, don't know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you know why Scuggy's complaining, don't you? Because he is a Yorkshireite, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't want to go to...
He's going to be exiled.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Scotland, dirty bastards.
Can't we just make Scuggy king of Yorkshire?
Yeah.
And he'll
right.
just have to turn it around himself.
Yeah, like a puppet government kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he will put him in charge.
You can be a principality like Liechtenstein.
Yeah. We're really in control of it, but we'll just tell you what to do and you can...
Are y'all still like live?
Scuggy will be the royal family. So Scuggy will be the first king of Yorkshire, so then he'll be the head of the royal family.
Yeah.
I think what we'll do is like, you know, Liechtenstein's got freedom of movement with Switzerland. We'll close the borders to any foreigners, so you can't enter Yorkshire without express permission. But Yorkie bars have got like freedom of movement to travel to and from England, but will be regarded with suspicion.
Yeah.
As in, why are you out of your county? Have you been spurned by your fellow Yorkie bars?
I'm sure we can arrange for a budget for some helicopters for Scuggy as well.
Yeah.
Will you be requiring helicopters as king of Yorkshire, Scug?
Yes.
Yeah, I would thought that.
We'll arrange you a helicopter budget as well.
Yeah. Be a large helicopter budget.
Scotland's going to need a massive helicopter budget when we sort them out.
Did we talk about?
Is that the new euphemism now? A helicopter, but do we talk about helicopter budgets?
Well, you know, because the shit libs don't believe in paying for stuff, so all the helicopter rides are going to be free.
Yeah.
Yes. A one-way ticket.
So there was
they're free one way. You have to pay coming back.
There was a girl in the south who basically was walking down the street, and then two like blacks started throwing rocks at her because she was racist for wearing black.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's
I
basically
This is what happens when you give Ooga Booga chimp people concepts they don't really understand.
Exactly.
You
It's
can't
like
have dark hair. That's cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Only
they dye
dark
theirs all the
people
time.
can have dark hair.
Yeah. Well, it's just basically all that this is trying to incite you know them to attack us. So you know defend your home, defend your town. Like if you see something going on in the street, just rugby tackle the cunt.
You know, I think I've worked it out. I mean,
in pro rugby 2020.
Yeah.
Take a pro rugby 2020. That's how you can tackle them.
If I am Minister of Agriculture, I could do a Clearances Act, so I could have all the shit lives moved to like the Scottish Highlands and replace the sheep with them. I think this would work. I mean, they talk about how Scotland's much more culturally advanced than England and so much better. Yeah, why don't you fuck off to Scotland then?
Yeah, then Jimmy Cranky can win every single election ever because she'll have no resistance. All of her people will live there.
Nicola Sturgeon and all the Guardian readers will be sent to the most windswept part of the Scottish Highlands with the understanding of, well, you could try and go elsewhere, but we wouldn't recommend it because, no, you see, we've all got chinky pox and racism down here. You don't want to come here. You want to stay in your windswept Highlands where it's safe. Eat peat and sphagnum moss. Yeah, that's it's organic, innit, bruv? I think we'll do the same with the Ooga Booga Chimp people as well. It's just say, do you want to go to Scotland with all these liberals which will care for you, or do you want to go back to Africa where you'll be happy?
God's Own says move everyone to Scorsland. I think he means Scousland. Then an unfortunate swamp gas accident will occur.
Oh, isn't Scorse like a type of isn't it a type of Scottish meadow?
No, that's gorse, isn't it?
Gorse, yeah. Move them to Gorseland.
Right, so on that note, we've done 2 hours, so good night, everyone.
That's your lot.
Good night.
Oh, so you're on tomorrow night then, Hobbit, aren't you? On your emergency game stream.
Oh, shit, it's Wednesday already?
No, it's Tuesday.
I was saying that.
I mean, it'll be Wednesday tomorrow already?
Yes.
Well,
it's Tuesday today. So you're doing your emergency game stream. Who have you got on? Scuggy again, probably.
Yeah,
Scuggy, I've got Scuggy on, have I? Yep, good.
Yeah.
And nobody else. It's an exclusive show. The waiting list is about 4 months now.
Yeah. So don't out Hobbit. He's too busy.
Yeah.
I'll do it anyway.
So Thursday we're doing. Did you want to do this North Korea thing, or did you want to do Dennis Nielsen?
Dennis Nielsen, he got bits of it, and the thing is, it's like we're going to need a long episode to cover worst Korea and why it is worst Korea.
Yeah, so you got about 4 weeks to get that episode together, Hobbit.
Gonna need a bigger boat.
Out of curiosity, what's this streaming on? Is it Land of Grub and Glory or Hemmingford Grey?
We're on the Land of Grub and Glory channel. I'm just going to leave it until my strike's gone after 90 days. So
I tried to bring the live stream up and I couldn't bring it up.
That's because I did something very spastic. I started the stream, then pressed end stream. That's why. There's actually 2 links.
Hobbit.
Oh, great.
You know, do you ever grind up garlic on steak?
No.
Yeah,